Ladies and gentlemen, babies and elephant, welcome to another new video. My name is Boss Lee, and today I want to bring for you guys a build I shot Deadeye. So this build is basically based on deck stacking, and because now we are towards the end of the league, and most of us already have the currency lying around and we don't know what to do with it. So I actually did a research that a lot of players actually are looking into playing Magic Find. Um, for new players out there that you want to try out the Headhunter or playing builds that you have never played before, this is the right place that you came to, because Ice Shot is one of the most least used skills for this league as well. But surprisingly, it does a very good, decent amount of clear speed and also a single target damage as well. That will be utilizing the skill Barrage. Now, I'm just going to explain on the Ascendancy first. So we're basically using Deadeye. The reason why is because Deadeye gives really good chain ascendancy points, and also gives additional arrow and a lot of area effect and better clear speed basically. So that's what we want from the Deadeye. And according to the Ascendancy here, the first nodes that you want to pick up is going for far shot. Reason why is because it increases your projectile speed. Not only that, the most important thing is far shot. So the further the arrows travel further away, the more damage it will deal. So it's dealing up to 30% more attack damage with hits and targets as they travel further. So this is the first node that you want to pick up. And then after that, you can choose if you want to pick up Ricochet or Endless Munitions. So the reason why I didn't pick up Gathering Winds, this is a very common thing that people always go for Gathering Winds first. It's kind of like I would say mandatory that you always go for Gathering Winds, especially when you're using a Deadeye, because it gives you action speed plus 10% on everything, whether it's move speed, attack speed, or everything that's related to speed. It'll give you 10% more, which is really cool. But the reason why I didn't pick up Gathering Winds is because I have the boots that gives me the enchant for Tailwind. So I will have Tailwind, especially whenever I cast, whenever I gain a crit strike, I'll get a Tailwind. So I don't have to really pick the Gathering Winds node here. So I can save up the node for something else. So first node, you can go for Far Shot. So if you do have a Tailwind boots, you can choose not to pick up Gathering Winds, and then pick up Far Shot first. Or you can pick up Rupture first. So Rupture, basically what it does is, so Rupture will be a replacement for my Gathering Winds. The reason why is Rupture causes bleeding on the enemy, and it gives you 40% more crit multi against bleeding enemies, and also 80% increased crit chance. So it gives you a shit ton of more crit against bleeding enemies, and it allows you to bleed, make the enemy bleed as well. And when you move while you're bleeding, it doesn't cause you to take any extra damage, and also gains 30 life whenever you hit a bleeding enemy. So when the enemy is bleeding, whenever you hit it, you will gain 30 life for every enemy that you hit. So that's the reason why I pick up Rupture. So it's up to you. You want to go for Far Shot first, you want to go for Rupture first, it's totally entirely up to you. But definitely, if you don't have a Tailwind boots, pick up Gathering Winds first. After that, then go for Ricochet. This one gives us skill chains +1. So our arrows will chain one more time. And also, Endless Munition will give us a lot more area effect and also fire additional projectile. So this is what we want. So this is the Ascendancy. Now, the build here actually requires a sum of currency. It's not a budget build, it's not a cheap build, but most of the things that you can actually craft for yourself. Otherwise, because now most of the stuff, the price has really gone down, so you don't really have to worry about spending a lot of currency on playing a build that you want to try. The only crafted stuff that you're using in this build will be the bow and the amulet and maybe the ring and the belt and the boots if you want. So the only uniques that we are using now, we are because we are playing deck stacking. So basically the idea is we are stacking as much decks as we can, and then we convert the decks, whatever decks we have, and then cold damage, added cold damage will be based on the dexterity. I'll show you here. So this is the bow that I crafted myself. So basically this one gives me flat 41 dexterity. Damage penetrates 7% elemental resistances, and 2 to 4 cold damage to attacks for with this weapon per 10 dexterity. So the more dexterity you have, the more cold damage that you will add. So right now I have about 804 dexterity. So this one gives me 2 to 4, so max up to 4 times 80. 80 will be 320. So it gives me 320 cold damage just from the bow itself. So this is the node that you want to get. So you can try crafting this node. It's about, the weight for crafting this node is about, I would say, about 200, I think. It's not easy, but it's definitely easier than crafting explosion chests, if you know what explosion chests are. Otherwise, you can just buy a bow with this mod on it, but it will cost you a few exalts. If it's a really good rolled bow, that will cost you a lot more. So it's up to you. And then you can craft yourself with more penetration and double damage if you want. That's the bow that I'm using. Fractal Toss will be definitely in the build as well, because it gives you 40% more crit multi if dexterity is higher, because dexterity will always be the highest stat. 15% increased dexterity if your strength is higher than your intelligence, which is the case, that we have more strength than intelligence, so we get another 15% more. And also 1% increased elemental damage per 10 dexterity as well. Same rules apply. So 80 we get 80% increased elemental damage because we got 800 dexterity. And 2 to maximum life for 10 intelligence. So I only have 70 intelligence, so this one only gives me 7 times 2 is only 14 life, so it's really low life, but it gives us a shit ton of damage. As for the enchant, I didn't really get the enchant for this one yet, so you can get one with enchant with barrage or tornado shot, but it's going to cost you a bomb. It's going to cost you easily at least, I would say 10 to 30 exalts, depending on which enchantment are you getting. So that's the helmet. For the bow, for the quiver, you want to get Hero's Demise. Reason why is because this one gives you attributes, attack speed, and area effect. The most important thing is the same thing. It gives cold damage to attacks per 10 dexterity. So it gives you a lot more dexterity as well. So 1 to 2, and here we have 2 to 4. So there's a lot of cold damage added to the skill. Here is Demise, and if you want to get something like this with the good corruption, this one that I bought for like I think 3 exalt or 2 exalt, something like that. You can get something like this, or you can just get the normal one without the corruption. It's up to you. As for the ring, you definitely want to go for Circle of Fear. This one I bought this one for I think 3 exalt. This one gives me 6% increased dexterity for the corruption and cold damage increase, and also buff effect and reduced mana reservation. Of course, you want to go for the most ideal one, which is Herald Device buff effect with increased damage, though, but that one will cost you a lot of currency. So depending on how comfortable are you with the currency, if you have a lot of currency lying around, then definitely go for buff effect and increased damage. And the other ring I'm going for Assassin Mark, because we are based on crit. And this one gives me flat cold damage, crit chance, and chance to freeze, and some res to cap some res from here. For the gloves, I got the Hands of the High Templar. This one gives me +1 maximum frenzy charges, and attacks have increased crit chance, and also some life and some res. This is if you want to get corruption for frenzy charges and attack crit chance, it only costs you about 1 to 2 exalts. It's really cheap. So pick one up in the market if you want, and then you can use it. And for the armor, Feral's Fur, because we want to have constant uptime on our frenzy charges. So frenzy charges will give us a lot more attack speed, damage, move speed, and crit and all that jazz, you know, because of the power charges as well that comes with it. So we have 6 frenzy charges and 3 power charges that's running. As for the belt, you want to get life and more res to cap your res, and some elemental damage with attack skills for more damage. And then for the boots, try to get elusive if you want. Tailwind elusive, it will cost you a bit more. It will be about at least 4 to 5 exalt. And if you can, get some dexterity out of it as well. So you want to stack as much dexterity as you can. And the next thing we want to talk about is the Flask. Now the Flask, you want to get a life flask with instant recovery and bleeding. Quicksilver Flask for removing of the chills and additional charges. Sinner Swallows Urn, definitely. You can go for the ones with crit chance, but it will cost you about 5 to 6 exalt, I think. It's really expensive right now. So I just got this one, 15% damage taken as from hits as leech as life. This one will cost you less than 1 exalt. So this one will be definitely very useful. It'll give you a lot of mana and life sustain. And definitely Dying Sun for additional 2 projectiles. And Bottle Fate is definitely something that you don't need. To replace this, you can use Aziri's Promise, or you can use what's the other Flask? The one elemental one. Sorry, just give me a sec. And crap. Wise Oak. Sorry. So the Wise Oak, if you want to use the Wise Oak, it gives you additional penetration, but make sure your cold resist will be the highest among all. Okay? Otherwise, it won't affect cold. It won't penetrate cold resist. It will penetrate whatever highest resist that you have. And then if you have currency, go for Bottled Faith. Okay? Up next on the list will be the gem links. Now, the single target will be using Barrage, and Barrage will be linked with the Inspiration support, and linked with Elemental damage, and then Cold damage, and then Hypothermia, and Cold penetration. That's for the Barrage. For the main link for Ice Shot will be Ice Shot, linked with Elemental damage, Inspiration, damage on full life, because we'll be leeching all the time. Most of the time will be full life and shooting from a range anyway, so full life wouldn't be that hard for you to get the damage. Great GMP, greater multiple projectiles, or you can use chain support if you want. It's up to you. And added cold damage, simple as that. For the helmet, we're using Hatred, running with Herald of Ice, and of course Precision with a lantern to lighten up the reservation. For the girls, we have Blood Rage linked with Ice Golem, cast when damage taken, and Immortal Call. And Dash with the second wind, so it gives you a lot more. It gives you additional dash charge, so you get 2 charges of the dash. So basically, you can charge from one end to the other, like this. Yep. So you got 2 charges of the dash. Okay, really cool. And portal scroll, a portal gem, which is my favorite because I don't like carrying portal scrolls and buying them as well. And also Frostbomb for additional damage when you go up against the boss. Right, so these are the gem links. And for the belt, I'm using a Searching Eye Jewel. I'm using cold damage with crit multi. And yeah, that's it for the gear and the gem links. The Pantheon I'm using right now will be Lunaris with Garukan, so I meant to actually unlock the additional mod as well. But basically, you're going to go for Lunaris for physical damage reduction and also move speed as well for more mobility. The bandits will be Alira, definitely for crit multi and the resistances. And lastly, we're going to talk about the skill tree. Skill tree is pretty straightforward. So basically, you want to start off, you'll be starting off with the Ranger going down, and then go for life nodes, and then pick up Finesse, and then after that, pick up Heart of Oak for more life, and then go down. You can choose not to pick up Winter Spirit first because it's just penetration. You won't be using Ice Shot that early. You can actually go down here and pick up more Dexterity if you want, and then you can pick up Primeval Force and Lethality, and then you can pick up Thick Skin for more life, and Fangs of Frost if you already started using Cold Ice Shot. And Point Blank definitely will give us a lot more damage, especially at the start of their movement. And let's see, we can move up here, and then definitely pick up these 2 nodes, King of the Hill and Master Fletcher. This one will give us a shit ton of damage. Heartseeker here for more crit multi. And then you can move up here and pick up Jewel Socket and go down here. You can pick up Weapon Artistry and Aspect of the Links, so more damage, move speed and stats. And then Aspect of the Eagle for more damage and life and move speed, and also projectile speed and more dexterity as well. And then moving up, the reason why I'm not using Lion's Eye Fall, a lot of people have been asking me, why are you not using Lion's Eye Fall? Okay, for me personally, this is my opinion, right? So basically, the reason why we are using Lion's Eye Fall, it will be always in this socket. And the reason why, because we want to pick up and convert the claw nodes here into bow nodes. The thing is, I actually went through this because since Delirium, right, they actually implemented the new cluster jewel system, and a lot of cluster jewel skills are really pretty much insane that we really want to implement it onto our build rather than just picking up. Because you see, okay, like Claw of the Hawk, it gives you 40% increased crit chance and 25% increased crit multi. That's it. The blind enemies is okay, but it's not the most important thing that we want. Basically, the reason why we're picking this area is because of the crit multis here. And also the Stole Raker gives us a bit of leech for life and mana. That's it, right? So that's the reason why I'm not picking this one, because I'm using I'm using the cluster jewels instead. But it's up to you. You can use Lioness Fall if you want. You can experiment yourself. You can try cluster jewels. You can try Lioness Fall. It's totally up to you, right? For me, I just want to go for cluster jewels. So the cluster jewels I'm using will be this one, increased cold damage. And then I picked up the Cold to the Core. So this one gives me 1% increased cold damage per 25 dexterity based on my dexterity as well. And also the other one will be Blanketed Snow. That gives me penetration for 10% cold penetration against chill enemy as well, which is really cool. And the small nodes, I skipped the medium clusters and I put in small clusters just for the life. So Natural Vigor for evasion and life, and Fatal for more life, basically. And then you want to go up here and pick up, as soon as you're using Feral's Fur, you want to pick up all the Frenzy Charge nodes. So Fanatic and this one over here. Sorry. So there's one here and then one up here. And then Blood Drinker for Life Leech. And then move up here, pick up the Strength if you need the Strength. And then after that, move up here and pick up Blood Siphon. And lastly, you want to pick up Assassination. That's pretty much a very standard bow build skill tree. Just the... and the other cluster jewel I'm using right here will be 5% increased effect of your curses. Most importantly, you want to get Master of Fear. So Master of Fear basically, because we will be cursing all the enemies with Assassin's Mark, right? So they are already being cursed, so enemies will be intimidated. That means they will take 10% increase more, 10% more damage they will take. And also Wish of For Death, which is really cool as well. So you have Culling Strike against cursed enemies. So whenever your enemies is cursed with your Assassin's Mark, you will have Culling Strike against them. So just so you know, Culling Strike is an instant kill as well. Whenever the enemy has 10% or 10% life or less, they will die instantly, whether it's a boss or anything. So if Cyrus has 10% health left below, one shot, he's dead after that. And pick up Thick Skin, yeah. So I picked up the Watcher's Eye for myself. So Watcher's Eye, I picked up the Hatred one with crit chance because I want more crit chance for myself. So for the Watcher's Eye, so you can pick up a few ones. So some people, they don't really know which ones do you want to pick for Hatred. Like which ones are the first ones that you want to pick, because you can't afford for a double or triple Hatred mod, okay? That's going to cost you a lung and a liver. So you want to get something that is efficient for the build. So this is my advice for you. If you have low crit chance, go for the crit chance one. If you have high crit chance, you can go for the one that gives you cold penetration. If you want more damage, you don't want penetration, you can choose to go for fist conversion as well, or you can go for increased cold damage. But my priority will be depending on what situation you are in. So if you are low in crit, you can go for crit. I was low in crit, so I went for crit. But if you have a lot of crit, go for penetration, definitely. So the penetration ones will cost you about 7 Exalt. This one I picked up for 8, which is quite a good deal because considering it gives me 1.76 out of 1.8%, which is quite good. Considering the fact that you don't have to roll that much with Divine Orbs. Okay, yep, I guess that's it. So, yeah, this build is actually very fun to play with, especially when you're clearing maps, as you can see in the showcase earlier. I really enjoy playing iShot because iShot was like one of the very first builds that I played since 3.7. And I find it very, very entertaining, and I like to see everything just scatter in the screen, which is really, it's kind of satisfying, especially when you watch. The only drawbacks I see in the build is the fact that you will have low life and sometimes you're not capped and res, because, you know, my res is pretty much crap. It's like 75, 53, and 60. It's not even capped, but, you know, it's either you kill them first before they kill you, simple as that. So I really enjoy playing this build. I tried a build with like Guardians and some of the Conquerors. Yeah, you may die like 2 or 3 times, some here and there, but it does satisfy you because it deals a good amount of DPS as well. For now, I think the barrage against the bosses will be about 5 to 6 million DPS, which is I would say average. So it's pretty fun to play with, depending on how much you can scale for your gears that you can afford. Yeah, so if you like this like bow builds in general, or you want to try something new, this is definitely something that you can try. And last but not least, I would like to thank you so much for taking your time watching this video. I hope you guys have a great time playing PoE. If you're new to the game, whether you're an old player, doesn't matter. Enjoy the game, especially during the hard times now. Everyone is staying at home. Spend more time with your family, enjoy the game, and if you have any more questions or you have any suggestions, please drop a comment below, like the video, and subscribe to my channel. I always have videos about build guides and crafting guides and all those stuff, and I stream every day. I stream daily on 4 days a week on Twitch as well. All the description, all the details are down below as well. Thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week and the rest of your day. I'll see you guys on the next video.